Hey everyone, I'm Kristen from YOBOgear. What you're about to see is part one of a short Hammock Stands 101 talk I gave at a live camping event, all about why someone might want a hammock stand, and what makes them so useful for hammock campers. It was recorded outdoors, so sorry for the occasional shouting voice, but I think you'll still enjoy it, and hopefully it gives you a solid foundation for understanding hammock stands and how they can completely change your camping setup. Make sure to stick around for both videos. Together, they'll give you everything you need to feel confident choosing a hammock stand that actually fits your setup and your adventures.
But welcome to Hammock Stand 101, basically. We're not going to get in like super deep and technical. It's just an overall overview about hammock stands in general. So there's two main questions when it comes to hammock stands. We will get to both of them today. The first one is why? Like, why on earth would I need a hammock stand? And Cal and I have found in about 5 years of doing this that there are four types of hammock stand people. There are the never hammock standers. These people cannot fathom any situation where they might possibly need a hammock stand. They will never need a hammock stand. They're always going to have the perfect trees. And that's totally fine with us. We're not here to try and twist anyone's arm to get a hammock stand. But that's just one category of people. Then there are the curious. These people have noticed that other people are using hammock stands and they're thinking to themselves, well, maybe that might be useful for me, but I'm not totally sold yet. Then there's the all-in people. They're like, yes, that, I need that, I'm convinced. Give me the hammock stand, and it's always with them on every camping trip. And the fourth type of hammock stander is probably our favorite. This is the convert. This person started out as a never stander, maybe even a little bit defiant of, I see no use for that. And now they're the people that have totally gone all in and they have at least 3 hammock stands. So you can fluidly move between the types of hammock stand owners as well. So addressing that first question, why? Why on earth would you have a hammock stand? Well, there's an obvious reason, and the obvious reason is when you don't have any trees. Yes, and that's like, of course, a really good reason to have a hammock stand. There's going to be situations in your life when you don't have any trees. We live in the Great Plains, and just the name of that area of the country tells you that we don't have many options for trees. If you've never camped in the prairie under an open sky, it's highly recommend. It's one of the coolest things you can do ever. So that's a place where we don't have trees. Deserts, desert camping. We like to hike our hammock stands to the top of mountains above tree lines and hang our hammocks up there, which is another just really cool experience that we wouldn't have if we were depending on trees. Indoors is a big one. We have many customers who they travel for work or they're visiting their kids a lot and they stay in a spare room, and it's easy to just throw their hammock stand in their suitcase and set it up in a hotel room or set it up in the back bedroom of their friend's house or set it up in an Airbnb, and they're guaranteed a comfy bed. What's another place? Oh, riverbanks. Raft trips are becoming more and more popular, and hammock campers are just now finding that they can do it too if they have a hammock stand. Because if you're on the side of a riverbank and you don't know exactly where you're going to be pulling in for the evening, if you have a stand with you, then it's just not a concern anymore. This state park is really cool, but a lot of state parks and campgrounds have decided to prohibit hanging hammocks. I think it's one of those scenarios where like a couple people have ruined it for everyone by hanging their hammocks with chains on trees or pounding nails into the tree trunks. So a lot of state parks have just said, nope, we're not going to deal with that anymore. And so having a stand in those scenarios is a way to respect the rules of the park and still be able to use your hammock. So no trees, that's the obvious reason to have a hammock stand. But Cal and I like to also point out the less obvious reasons, and there are a bunch of them. When you depend on trees, everything about your location is going to be dependent on them. So let's say you have this amazing view of a gorgeous lake And you walk up to your campsite and you're like, this is beautiful. I want to wake up and watch the sunrise over this lake in the morning. And then you start looking for trees, and the two perfect trees are about 3 feet this way behind a bush. And then you can't wake up and see your view any morning, even though it's right there. So if you have a hammock stand, that's just a non-issue. You can set it up exactly where you want to, like to the inch, exactly where you want to look out of your hammock and see a good view. There's also the proximity to neighbors issue, and this can go two ways. If you are like myself, who needs complete dark and complete quiet to go to sleep, then you're going to want to take your hammock and your stand and get away from the crowd a little bit. You're not going to want to have your camp spot right next to the big campfire or right next to the party tent, whichever one that is. We always know there's a party tent at an event. Being able to have a stand lets me just slip away when it's bedtime and go get a good night's sleep so that I can be fresh and sociable the next morning. The opposite of that is if you are a really social person and you want to camp right next to your friends and you want to be part of the action, you want to be next to the campfire, you want to be right next to breakfast so you can smell it cooking and be first in line in the morning, a stand gives you that option. You can literally set it up wherever you want. The anxiety of showing up to an event, maybe like this one, where you don't know exactly, like this is our first time here. We drove 2.5 days here, and I didn't think once in the car like, oh geez, I hope we get a good spot, because I knew we had our stands. So we didn't have to get here and immediately start hunting around for ideal trees where we could hang sort of close together, or where it was going to be like close to our booth or anything like that. We just knew our stands were in the car. We pretty much had our pick of spots. All of the obvious things like staying in the shade, staying in the sun, whatever your personal preference are, your stand will accommodate you. Something we've been hearing recently, now this is funny because I don't think I've ever camped on trees, not once, because he introduced me to hammock camping and he already had a stand. And so I've never once slept between two trees. But something I've been hearing a lot is people don't like the sap getting all over their tarps and all over their traps or their straps, and bugs crawling on them, which apparently it's a thing that happens. I'm seeing some nods. Another thing that's kind of less obvious, that's a really good benefit to having a stand, is it will set up the exact same every time. So you get your stand, you hang your hammock on it once, you dial everything in, get your suspension set, get your tarp height set, get all your angles right, and you do that one time. Then once you put everything away, get to your next camping event, unpack it again, it's going to all go up the exact same way that it did the first time you set it up. So you don't have to think, you just set your stuff up and get to camping, which is really the reason we're there. We're not there to fiddle around with stuff forever, unless you're Cal, because he kind of likes fiddling. Those are the reasons our customers buy hammock stands. Cal and I have a little bit more special and deeper reasons for why we even do hammock stands. And I know you're like, how deep can you get, Kristen? It's a hammock stand. But we do own a hammock stand company, and it's really personal for us. And there's like a deeper meaning and reason for why we started this company. One, I know there's lots of people here who have discovered hammocks as kind of the way that they can get back outdoors, whether they have health problems or back problems. And they had to stop camping for a while because they couldn't sleep on the ground. And then they discovered hammocks, and hammocks reopened the outdoors to them. Cal is actually one of those people. Believe it or not, he used to ride bulls. Not good for the back. He works very, very, very hard. He spent years building fence, welding on concrete floors. Just, he's such a hard worker, but it beat up his body over the years. And he had back pain so bad that it was paralyzing. And his favorite thing is to be out in nature. He loves to go hunting. He loves to just go sleep under the stars. And he wasn't able to do that for a while because of the back pain. So once he discovered hammocks, he finally had a way to get back out there and enjoy the woods and enjoy the prairie and enjoy nature, and I know so many of you have that same story when you discovered hammocks. So if you are dependent on hammocks to have an enjoyable camping trip, then you just want to increase the odds that you're going to be able to use your hammock every time. And having a stand just takes away all that uncertainty. It takes away all the variables of, am I going to find trees? Is there going to be a right spot for me? So having the stand just makes sure that you'll be able to do that. Another thing that is really cool for us to see, and you can see it here even just walking around this event, is the community aspect. We love walking around hammock camping events and seeing like little semicircles of stands all together. You've made your own little community within the community so that you can all camp together and wake up in the morning and be close, or parents can have their kids camping close by. Eli was telling us about this super cool formation they're going to try with 5 hive stands in like a pentagon shape with their hot tents. Like, I can't wait to see that. But it's just really awesome to see generations camp together, friend groups who might only see each other 2 or 3 times a year. They get to come camp together. And so the community aspect is really special to Cal and I as well. That about covers the whys for hammock stand. I'm sure there's other reasons that you guys can come up with as well, but those are our main whys for why we create and sell hammock stands.